Welcome back to another episode of Christian Natural Health. Today, I'm going to be talking about phosphorus, which is a good mineral, versus phosphates, which are found in processed foods, and why we care about the difference. Our bodies maintain a constellation of interconnected feedback mechanisms, keeping our pH, our hormones, our nutrients, our electrolytes, and our systems in general in balance. As a general rule, the body can compensate for minor to moderate disturbances easily enough with these for a while, but at a cost. Phosphorus is a critical nutrient for bones, teeth, cell membranes, and the body's pH buffering system, and it's also a source of energy in ATP, adenosine triphosphate. But there can be too much of a good thing. In whole unprocessed foods, phosphorus is typically complex with phytic acid, which is considered an anti-nutrient, such that it is released slowly and not all at once. That allows time for the feedback hormones and enzymes for both bone storage and renal excretion to kick in and regulate the levels, including PTH, calcitriol, which is the active version of vitamin D, IGF-1, estrogen, testosterone, and local alkaline phosphatase. Additionally, in whole food sources, phosphorus is never isolated from other nutrients required for incorporation into bone. It's often found alongside calcium, vitamin K, magnesium, and other trace minerals. In a healthy system, because phosphorus is an important nutrient for ATP generation and membrane formation, increased serum levels trigger the body to shift the mineral inside the cells where it can then be incorporated wherever it's most needed. Inorganic phosphates are a common additive in processed foods for purposes of texture, water retention, emulsification, leavening, and acidification as phosphoric acid in sodas. They're far more bioavailable than the phosphorus found in whole foods. Inorganic phosphates are to phosphorus in whole foods as high fructose corn syrup is to eating a piece of fruit. The sudden bolus amount of phosphates in the bloodstream, unaccompanied by other minerals, actually inhibits bone formation, instead triggering increased renal excretion via fibroblast growth factor 23, FGF23. If this is occasional, the compensatory mechanisms work well enough that there is no lasting damage. However, FGF23 is directly toxic to the heart, leading to cardiac hypertrophy if it remains consistently elevated. Also, remember that elevated levels of phosphorus outside cells trigger the cells to pull it inside for use. If it's high in the bloodstream, phosphates shift inside the cells of the vasculature. Excessive amounts here lead to deposition in the blood vessels as hydroxyapatite, which is the primary mineral complex in bone. This is vascular calcification, a primary feature of cardiovascular disease. Adequate amounts of activated vitamin B3 or NAD+, in particular, help to put the brakes on this calcification process, but those consuming highly processed diets are very likely to have insufficient levels of this vitamin too. Eventually, a steady flux of phosphates through the kidneys can lead to oxidative stress, kidney stones, and renal damage as well, leading to renal efficiency decreasing the renal efficiency of phosphate clearance, which means it's like an ever worsening feedback loop. So now it can't get out the kidneys either. So the bottom line, because inorganic phosphates hide in so many processed foods, it's likely a hidden culprit in many cases of cardiovascular disease among those who consume a standard American diet. So read your labels, avoid sodas, but above all, try to consume primarily whole, unprocessed foods. And I will link to the blog post that this comes from in the show notes like usual. All of the studies are linked in there. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week.